I think Scottish football in general is definitely getting a lot of attention again. And it's also a really good time for girls' football and women's football. If a club you support, you're doing it for a higher purpose rather than just your job. I've had boys' academies in men's football for so long, so they've kind of written the script and kind of set a standard. But the kind of good thing about girls' football is, okay, well, we can either follow what they've done, or we can be a bit more innovative and do different things. It's also exciting to think, well, you've got potential to do something a little bit different. I'm Kraig Andrews. I did football business and media at UCFB, and my current job is head of operations at Rangers Girls Academy. So basically I organise everything for the girls teams. So at Rangers we have 3 girls teams. We have under 13s, under 15s, under 17s. They play in what the Scottish Football Association called the next gen phase, so next generation of football players. So yeah, I've got 3 teams, 50 odd girls across the 3 teams. So my job is basically organise training, organise coaches, the physio, organise the games, any trips we do, organise all that as well. So basically just make sure the girls have football to do every single week is my main job. So if you told me that my first kind of big job in football would be at Rangers, I don't think I would have believed you. So yeah, it's my first job at a football club. I think it's a great place to be. I think being involved in football, I don't think there's ever a bad time to be involved in football. This year in particular, like you mentioned, Scotland's getting a lot of attention. Scott McTominay, I think, is a bit of a hero for us all. So yeah, he's managed to, him and the Scotland team have managed to get us to another World Cup. I think Scottish football in general is definitely getting a lot of attention again, and it's also a really good time for girls' football and women's football. Obviously, you've had boys' academies in men's football for so long, so they've kind of written the script and kind of set a standard. But the kind of good thing about girls' football is, okay, well, we can either follow what they've done, or we can be a bit more innovative and do different things. So it's nice to have a kind of template there to follow, to follow what boys' teams and boys' academies have done. But it's also exciting to think, well, you've got potential to do something a little bit different. I think it's quite fortunate. I don't think everybody gets to work at the club that they also support. How do I feel about it? I think it definitely drives you more. I think it gives you a lot more passion. I never hesitate to, kind of do extra things to the club if I'm asked to, or work extra days, or do extra things here or there. Because I think if a club you support, you're doing it for a higher purpose rather than just your job. I've really enjoyed my time at UCFB. I found the whole experience quite fascinating. Definitely something that you don't get to do at other universities. I was thinking back to some of the kind of guest speakers that we had. So we had people like Roy Keane, Alan Shearer, Sven-Goran Eriksson, Kevin Nolan, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. You're not going to get them at any other university coming in to do a lecture to you. You meet people like that, it does give you inspiration. Particularly when you hear about footballers' journeys. Because not all of them are guaranteed to end up where they are now. So my degree was football business media, so it was kind of heavily media based. I built a website, I did a PR campaign for a rugby club, I made news articles. My placement at university was actually for a betting company website. I used to write the wee blurbs for betting companies. I used to commentate on the UCFB games. So I think doing all these wee kind of different things throughout my 3 years, it almost felt like a little football club you were already working for, but just very student based, obviously. And then you take the skills that you learned there, and it just shows you when you go into your actual job how much that you take back from what you learned at uni. So I didn't really have any connections as such in the football industry. So I think, particularly for me, when I did my degree and I finished uni, I spent about a year applying for jobs before I actually got one in football. During that time, I never took my kind of eye off the ball. I was always watching football every week, always reading about football. I was doing kind of online courses about scouting, just learning as much as I can, because I knew that I didn't want to give up to find a job in football. I just knew it would take time and just perseverance. So one of the kind of main things I took away from my course, obviously when I was at UCFB, that was when VAR was introduced to Premier League, to the world as well, but primarily to the Premier League. So it's a huge talking point the entire time that I was there. particularly doing a media degree nearly every week. It was what was brought up in class was VAR. So when it came to time to do my dissertation, I did my dissertation in VAR. And then my first job post-uni was actually for Hawkeye, working in the Scotland VAR office as a VAR information officer. So had I not done that dissertation directly linked to VAR, I'm not sure that would have given me the first stepping stone that I had to get into football. And obviously working at the VAR office for a year gave me so much more experience, and now I've ended up at Rangers. Every single thing that I did, every bit of coursework I did was football related. So I know people who maybe ended up in football and maybe did a business degree, and they're like, oh, I did, the course of my 3 or 4 years at uni, I did 2 essays on football, and it really got me interested. Every single thing I did was about football. Yeah, I think I could have done another degree? Probably not. I think the fact that it was just so football focused, and I say every day you're going into university, you're talking about your hobby. You're talking about something that you love, and you're learning about it. What I would say to you is, do not give up, persevere, work very hard, do anything extra that people tell you to do or people ask you to do. It's not easy, and not an easy industry to get into, and once you're in it, it is hard work. There's always things happening, there's always things changing, but I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, I don't think. So what advice would I give to people? Yeah, follow your dreams. If your dream is to work in football, do everything you can to make it happen.